why is it that a single F1 team is worth 10 times more than an IPL franchise? Is it the cars, the players, or something far deeper that we rarely see? How F1 copied the IPL business playbook and did it better? Notice this sound.
Formula One, anything could happen. Hamilton finds the checkered flag to Centurion.
$2 billion. That's not the GDP of a small country. It is the average, just the average market value of a Formula One team. Now listen carefully to this sound.
There's another wicket.
He struck it so well. Bang on, just out of there.
$200 million. That's the average value of an IPL cricket team. And what messed with my mind is the fact that the top two F1 drivers by themselves can buy the Lucknow Super Giants with just their yearly salaries. Formula One and the IPL, both hugely successful sporting giants. Both have loyal fan bases and have taken their respective games to a new commercial height. But then why is it that a single F1 team is worth 10 times more than an IPL franchise, even when both of them are global giants of their sport? Is it the cars, the players, or something far deeper that we rarely see? By the end of this video, you'll know everything there is to know about how F1 copied the IPL business playbook and did it better. This video will try to answer two big questions. First, why has F1 become so cool recently? Why is everyone suddenly interested in fast cars going around in circles? And secondly, how did a secretive company take a niche exclusive sport like Formula One and turn it into one of the biggest entertainment businesses on the planet? I got my hands on this 100-page investor report, and the story it tells about F1's rise is nothing short of fascinating. My name is Aditya, and for years, I've done just one thing well: explaining F1 to India. And today at Acko Drive, I'll break down Formula One racing, but from an IPL lens. Let's get started. This video is divided into 5 major parts: the IPL Saga, F1 history, the Liberty Media bet, the Netflix effect, and the cultural expansion. Picture an evening on the 17th of April 2009. It's 7 p.m. and we're all hooked to our TV sets. Let's start with what 1.4 billion Indians follow as an unofficial religion. I know what you're thinking. It's cricket. Now from 2009, let's rewind a bit to 2006. In 2006, T20 cricket was just a new format, a shorter version of the game, just packed with more thrill and a load of dopamine. Until one man discovered the perfect recipe to mix cricket with entertainment, turning this format into an absolute cash-generating machine. A setup that for the next 2 decades didn't just redefine how we watch cricket, but also shaped who would go on to play for the Indian cricket team. The IPL, or the Indian Premier League, revolutionized this into prime-time evening entertainment. Because this was no longer just cricket, Bollywood, business, and billions of dollars. It became a dopamine-filled spectacle. And slowly, it is now India's favorite hobby. It was all magical. But wait, where did Formula One come from? And how did they do 10x better than the IPL? And what Lalit Modi did for the IPL, who did that for F1? We'll find that out. But before we get to the economics of it, let's start with a bit of history first. The Formula One history. Before 2017, Formula One was just run by one guy, Bernie Ecclestone, an 85-year-old British billionaire. And mind you, Bernie wasn't just some businessman in a suit brought in. He had proper racing DNA. He was an F1 driver himself in the 1950s. He owned championship-winning teams in the 70s and the 80s, and by the 2000s, he was basically Mr. Formula One. So who better to run F1, right? The guy who'd been around since the 1950s, who knew every driver, every circuit, cracked every deal. And to be fair, Bernie did grow the sport, but he just did it his way. And that way was, well, old. Very old.
But there's more.
Bernie Ecclestone treated Formula One like an exclusive country club. The audience were rich men in suits, billionaires on yachts in Monaco, old money Europeans. So what about new fans? Young kids, major countries like the USA? He didn't really care. In fact, Bernie once famously said F1 didn't need young fans because, in his own words, my sponsors are Rolex, and which young fan can afford a Rolex? Social media was actively discouraged. Teams couldn't even post their own race clips on YouTube. So, Formula One stayed a niche sport. Not because it couldn't grow, but because the boss didn't want it to. To Bernie Ecclestone, Formula One was a velvet rope nightclub, and you needed some serious credibility to get past the bouncers at the door. The Liberty Media bet. The Liberty Media company bought Formula One in 2017, and when it did, it asked itself a simple but radical question. What if Formula One wasn't just racing? What if it was a global entertainment brand? They built their strategy around three major pillars: expand the fan base, maximize commercial value, and invest in new markets. Compare this with the IPL. When it launched in 2008, it wasn't just about cricket. T20 cricket was suddenly transformed into city rivalries. Tendulkar's Mumbai versus Ganguly's Kolkata. Vijay Mallya owns a team. Shah Rukh Khan owns a team. Dhoni from Ranchi is now Talaiva in Chennai. You know, there was a time when Indian households turned into Saas Bahu dramas at 7 p.m. sharp. That was replaced with cricket. Of course, a lot of people watched the IPL because they loved cricket, but the rest of us tuned in because Shah Rukh Khan was jumping in the stands. Preeti Zinta was cheering her heart out. And when that happened in India, cricket became a lifestyle product. Liberty Media's playbook for F1 is almost identical. Don't just sell sport, sell spectacle. The Netflix effect. The first step, bring in new fans, younger fans, fans from different countries. You know, back in 2017, F1 was almost proud of being niche, but to Liberty Media, that was wasted potential. So they went where the fans were, online, on social media, and finally, on Netflix. The turning point was Drive to Survive, a Formula One TV series. When Drive to Survive launched on Netflix in 2019, it did something no highlight reel could. It pulled back the curtain. It took us behind the scenes of Formula One. Suddenly, it's not just about the race broadcast and the drivers under the helmets. Netflix cameras were following the drivers everywhere, even in their personal lives. And you got to see them as actual people, as athletes struggling through a training session, jealous of another driver who was doing well, insecure about not getting a new contract. You're seeing jokes and banter, you're forming meme culture, and you're seeing huge controversies and bitter rivalries. Now, for millions of people just binging Netflix and finding Drive to Survive, they didn't care about aerodynamic performance of a car or tire performance. It was stories. Humans love stories. People found drama and they resonated with the drivers as humans. And then they became fans. Formula One on Netflix made Formula One the sport cooler. And the proof is in the pudding. Over 800 million people worldwide have watched Drive to Survive. And studies show that 1 in 3 new fans started watching F1 because of Drive to Survive, which then translated to them buying tickets and showing up in real life to the races. You know, I'll give you some numbers. In 2018, 3.5 million fans attended F1 races. Last year, in 2024, the attendance went past 6 million. What started on screens ended up filling arenas and racetracks. Now let's address what that resulted in, the commercial boom. Now you see, with all of these new fans coming in, Formula One's revenues climbed from $2 billion in 2019 to $3.5 billion in 2024. That's almost double in 5 years. Liberty Media went big on sponsorships. Today, the grid is packed with partners like LVMH, American Express, Lenovo, and Apple, who of course produced a Hollywood F1 movie starring Brad Pitt. Now that's not just sponsorship, that's cultural crossover. But tell me, how did all of this happen? This report gave me 2 amazing insights about what they exactly did. First, their fan-focused philosophy. Formula One started putting you, the Formula One fan, at the center of everything. See, simply, this is the idea. Fans are customers, so you understand them better. Now you do everything you can to engage them, and then you sell to them and make more money. Simple, huh? Sometimes it's the simplest of things in life that get overlooked. Secondly, they categorized us into 4 types of fans. A fan who cares about the sport in general. A fan who cares about the technical aspects of the sport. A fan who cares about the glamour and the spectacle. And a fan who cares about Drive to Survive and the social media buzz. So now, Formula 1 has 4 types of fans who care about 4 types of things. And F1 can sell 4 types of things to them based on what they care about. And finally, let's talk about cultural expansion and expanding into new markets. The biggest move for the future is taking all of this attention and expanding into new markets. Because for decades, F1 dreamed of cracking America, but failed every single time. In the US, NASCAR and IndyCar, they dominated, while F1 was seen as a European curiosity. However, Liberty Media flipped the script. They went all in with the Miami Grand Prix in 2022, complete with fake yachts and a Hard Rock Stadium takeover. And then came Las Vegas 2023, a $500 million spectacle, complete with neon lights, DJs, the Vegas Fear, and the damn Las Vegas Strip shut down for Formula 1 racing. That one single weekend pumped $1.5 billion into the Vegas economy. That's more than the Super Bowl. And cut to today, now the US has 3 Grand Prix venues: Austin, Miami, and now Vegas. And finally, Formula 1 is mainstream in America. But they didn't stop there. It's time for the Middle East, baby. New races in Saudi, Qatar, put more focus on the existing Abu Dhabi race. Even that is not enough. Time for a refresher in Europe. How about a street race in Madrid? See, here's the thing. When you have so much reach and so much engagement, you can just expand. And things will work out because people want to be associated with you. The IPL has been running the exact same playbook for years. The IPL teams in India, that's the main thing. But the Kolkata Knight Riders now also own the Trinidad and Tobago Knight Riders. So now they have another team in the Caribbean Premier League. Chennai Super Kings own the Johannesburg Super Kings. So now they have another team in the South African League. See, this works because when you have so much reach and so much engagement, everyone wants to work with you. And that is the golden ticket to new markets. So now back to our central question. How do you take a niche exclusive sport and turn it into a global entertainment empire? Liberty Media's playbook for Formula 1 is simple. Treat fans like customers, not just spectators. Package the sport as entertainment, just like the IPL did, and expand into new markets. And most importantly, build culture. See, Formula 1 today is no longer just about who wins on track. It's about who buys the merch, who posts that Instagram reel, who gets the inside jokes. But also, at the same time, it is still also about who buys the Louis Vuitton or who checks into the luxury paddock club. See, put simply, Liberty Media turned racing into a cultural event and everybody showed up. And maybe, just maybe, F1 took the IPL's playbook and did it faster and better. What other sport do you think can do this? Pro Kabaddi? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe to Acko Drive and thanks for watching.